Welcome back to the Geekcentric podcast, and welcome to our watch club for Marvel's Hawkeye. Hey look, that one's you. No, that's Katniss Everdeen. Let's go. Welcome back to Watch Club. My name is Nate, and this is our Watch Club for Hawkeye, Episode 2, titled Hide and Seek. If you're joining us for the first time, this is Watch Club, our weekly review series, kind of like a book club, but way better. Keep in mind, we will be going into full spoilers for this series and the MCU in general, so if you haven't watched this week's episode, then make sure you go watch it, and then come right back to join us faster than a speeding arrow. Now, before our apartment is burned down by a bunch of bros in tracksuits, let me introduce you to all the wonderful LARPers joining us today. First up, he's a straight shooter whose aim with a camera is right on target. He's Justin Lawrence.
Malige.
And joining him, we have, well, listen, he takes no bullseyes from nobody, and he's always ready to let loose. He's the king of Christmas, Kevin the Hawkman Hudson.
Hi. Oh, that was lame. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm trying to understand the reference.
Santa,
is that another?
Ho, 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 but instead it was...
okay. Hi. All right. Well, we're just going to move on here. Because joining us for this episode, you know, through the New York snow and the dank fog, he's our very own pizza dog. He's Darcy from the comics, Hudson.
I like that. I'll take that as a little name.
That's the name, bro. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, and I'm also glad you mentioned Pizza Dog. He's probably the thing I've been looking most forward to out of the series. And
oh, sweet!
To hear his name uttered this episode is great.
Right? We got it. We finally got the name officially. Still no sound of Lucky yet. No sign of Lucky, but hope maybe we'll get that name again. For our listeners who are maybe not familiar with you yet, our lovely guest host, Darcy, would you mind letting the geeks know who you are and maybe your familiarity with Hawkeye and Kate Bishop and Pizza Dog?
I'm Kev's younger brother, Darcy. I kind of took Kevin's love of, the pulp culture fandom and went way harder. So I love all the comics and stuff that all these shows and movies are coming from. Yeah. And so when I heard that Matt Fraction's run of Hawkeye, also known as the saga of Bishop and Barton, was being made, heavily influencing the show, I was totally on board and really excited to see it. And I'm enjoying the first 2 episodes, so I can't wait to talk about it more with you guys.
Very cool. Now, I personally have gotten so many recommendations to read the Matt Fraction comics. That's what everyone's saying. If you want to read Hawkeye, that's the one to go to.
It's the best one. It's most recent, and it really defines the character more than he's ever had, being a side character in all these other series. So it was really, really, really worth it to read that series. I think Justin's reading it now too.
Very cool. And do you find that the show, at least so far, is pulling from that comic pretty accurately?
Well, for sure. The fact that one of the main antagonists or group of antagonists we've seen so far is the Tracksuit Mafia is straight from the comics, although in the comics they're known as the Tracksuit Draculas.
Okay.
So I understand they avoided that because they don't want to be throwing too many, loose ends out there. Vampires, people will be jumping to Blade immediately.
Oh, Blade?
Well, no, there's already enough reason to do that with the characters. Because it dives into their, that series really has, both Barton's backstory and Bishop, so it really defines her character as well. So definitely a very go-to series if you want to know more about these characters.
Now, Darcy, I got to jump in and ask really quickly. In the comics, do they say bro a lot? Is that in every speech?
Oh, they are. Yeah, that is very true to life. They are just a bunch of incompetent thugsters who are they're just dumb, and it's perfect to see them brought to life so true to form, basically.
I think the biggest standout from the comics, even in these 2 episodes, is tonally just the vibe, right? Mm-hmm. It's very, we reference street level, and there's just such a, kind of breaking down that superhero structure in this comic book that just feels more like a Sin City parody with a Hawkeye character. So it's much different from even just the conventional comic book. So right off the bat, comparing it to first 2 episodes, it feels like it's capturing more the tone and vibe that the comic has. I obviously the direction that it might go will be probably different, but it'll definitely be very inspired.
Well, I think this episode really drove home the point too, is that people people have a reason to look up to Hawkeye because he is the one alongside Black Widow, although she had, Red Room programming. Hawkeye is, as far as we know, just a really skilled archer. He put all his effort into training and became a normal guy, became a hero. So he's idolized by everybody. So I think it's really neat to watch that, relationship between the two of them. And then even outside of Bishop and Barton in the show, they're doing a really good job of painting where Hawkeye stands in the overall picture of superheroes.
Yeah, interesting. And I mean, we're kind of seeing it dive into his psyche, but let's just just like the series dives into Hawkeye's psyche, let's dive into this episode. So the episode starts off, kind of picks up right where we left off, seeing Clint discover Kate in the Ronin suit, and the two head back to her apartment where Clint asks for the suit back. And then we see them get ambushed by the tracksuit mafia as they throw Molotov cocktails at them. We see the two team up and then escape along with Pizza Dog. And Clint says he'll come back for the suit later. They head to a convenience store to pick up some, and I'm using air quotes here, Avengers supplies. And then they break into Kate's aunt's apartment, where Kate stays back to tend to her wounds, and then Clint heads back out to recover the Ronin suit. So, guys, this is kind of our first few real scenes seeing Kate and Clint interact. Let's start off by talking about the chemistry between these two characters.
Well, like I said earlier on, I think the relationship between these two is brought straight from the pages of the comic, because the banter between them that we're already getting like hints of, we can see once she's getting over her starstruckness, she's trying to now prove herself to her idol, and I love the direction that their bond is going, and I can't wait to see it develop further, both in the episode and in the series.
Yeah, I think, I was hinting at it in the episode 1 Watch Club recap, where we were talking about how it seems like Kate's been sort of looking for this moment to be a hero. She's finding that trouble, and she's very wants to get deeper into it. Like, are we going to get, Avenger supplies? We're going to Avengers Towers.
She's such a fan.
Like, she's such a fan. And I think it's so interesting that she's looking for it. Whereas obviously Clint or Hawkeye is just, he doesn't want anything to do with it. He just wants to get rid of it. Like, he just wants to get out of it and just get back to his family and, sort of deal it. And we kind of see these hints as we go through the episode where Kate's just like trying to unravel a mystery.
Yeah, I think as soon as we heard that Haley Steinfeld had been cast in the role, we were excited to see what kind of dynamic she would have with Jeremy Renner. And this scene proved, at least for most of us, that we were right about that kind of chemistry that they were going to have. And it's just such a fun dynamic to have Kate with her youthful exuberance, and she's just starting her path into the world of being a hero. Whereas, especially in the last episode, we see just how beat down Clint is from the years and years of pain and suffering. And so that in and of itself lends to this awesome sort of dynamic between the two characters that's going to be really fun to explore as we go forward.
I think one of my favorite moments between the two of them right off the bat here is when he's like, what are you, 18? She's like, I'm 22. He's like, yeah, same thing. I was just like, it's so well timed. And yeah, their dialogue here is just so well done. And I think that line really speaks to sort of their dynamic right away. Like, he like you're saying, he doesn't really want to be there, but at the same time, he kind of does. You can tell that he's still a dad no matter what, and he kind of still wants to take care of her.
And then I will say my one thing about this scene, this is our first instance of seeing them team up in an actual confrontation, and we get almost nothing, right? We get a really cool Hawkeye moment where Clint smashes through the window, catches the Molotov, and throws it back at them.
Right.
And then a few seconds later, we see Kate's skill as she shoots through the window right past Clint and nails the Molotov in the other guy's hand. But then that's it. We don't get to see them really team up and do anything. And they really prolong that throughout this whole episode, where they tease us with moments where we might get some action and excitement, and we never quite do. They're really making us wait for that team up aspect.
Right. I honestly think the scene that has already been previewed and a lot of people have already seen of them in the car, I think is going to be that very first moment. So we may have already gotten it, but I do love sort of just seeing how bold she is, seeing how cocky she is, just shoot right past him. The moment she's like, told ya. Like, I was just like, that is awesome. And it just speaks so much to her character.
She's still young and she's still figuring out her way. And also, just to kind of go back to something that you said, Nate, where, Clint seems to be kind of adopting this sort of father figure with her. You get that moment maybe when he's tending to her wounds, but for the most part, he wants nothing to do with her. He doesn't want to get her in any sort of danger. He's trying to like let go of her as quickly as possible. Like, even as we get towards the end and we realize what happens, like, he doesn't want anything to do with her. He's trying to get her out of this situation, maybe that can be perceived as like a father figure sort of mentality.
I think he's trying to protect her, right? And I think,
of course,
I
that's
think,
the
I
nature
think
of
part of
him.
him, I do think part of him kind of wishes it was his own daughter, sort of going on these adventures, but he understands that he also wants to keep her safe.
I don't think that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think as the series goes on, I think we'll.
What I was going to say is like one of the main differences between the comic or the series and this is Hawkeye's reasoning to partner up with Kate Bishop, whereas in the comics he's defending a building that is being threatened by the Tracksuit Mafia. He's now protecting Kate from the same thing. So I'm wondering if Kate is the surrogate building and his forced relationship with her is going to be a result of him trying to keep digging her out of the mess that she's getting herself into, trying to help him. Like, I feel like it's going to be a whole like vicious cycle thing that will then spiral out to the happy ending we all want to see. But I think that relationship is going to definitely evolve into something more mentor disciple thing.
Well, and I also don't know if it's so much that, we see Clint trying to protect Kate and want to keep her out of danger in this episode, so much as he just doesn't want to be involved in this crap, and she's pulled him in, and he's like, man, I just want to get home for Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's causing all this trouble, and he's got to go out and save this person he doesn't even know. So he's clearly annoyed.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I was just going to say, he seems to be saving them from his own past, though, because he knows what past is associated with that suit, because he even went through the lengths later on in the episode to get it back from someone else. So, like, he cares about who the suit is going to affect, I think, more than anything else.
Absolutely.
It's a good call.
Now, I don't think that we're getting any sort of Mephisto vibes, but I do want to shout out another thing a little line that I caught. We get to see that moment with them in the convenience store, and I love how you see how she's so underwhelmed by Clint at this point, where it really speaks to the first episode's title of Never Meet Your Heroes, and she's just kind of like, this is so disappointing. But I caught an interesting line there. We see Kate kind of ask about Avengers Tower, and Clint has a really casual throwaway line of, no, Tony sold that place years ago. And I know we saw that in Homecoming, but I want to know, I'm throwing this out to you guys, who bought it?
Oscorp.
That or I'm thinking Kang.
It could be Kang. That's what a lot of people
He's going to be the overarching villain for this next phase. It makes sense to be him, especially the fact that we saw a tower in the void as well in Loki. So
yeah,
I also think though that if Kang does become a big baddie, I think it's the young Avengers that will have to take him down
with their younger version of himself, but then only to realize that they need to actually ensure his existence so that they can go on to save the world in some other way. Like the Young Avengers is one of the most convoluted storylines ever, and I love it for that reason.
Wow. I mean, I know you guys are just talking about stuff that happened in the comics, but it sounds like you're writing the next phase of the MCU. Kevin Feige, not the Kevin here, Kevin Feige, listen to this episode and you'll see. So, then we get to see Clint sort of play detective firefighter as he explores the now burnt down apartment. He's unsuccessful in finding the suit, but he notices a sticker for the New York LARPers on the side of a fire truck, and he heads back to Kate's apartment where she's, kind of wrapping up a conversation with her mom and helps dress her wounds properly. And again, this is kind of what we were talking about, where we do start to see that father figure really start to play out, right? He's like, yeah, that mentor. He's like, you're doing it all wrong. And he fixes it for her. I thought that was so sweet. And then upon further investigation, Clint discovers the suit was taken by Grills, the firefighter. So after sending his kids back home, he walks Kate to her mom's work and reluctantly gives her his phone number. And then he goes to track down Grills and inadvertently ends up LARPing with the city's finest law enforcers and firefighters. And he ends up recovering the suit, but only after he lets Grills win. So, guys, this is the second time we've seen LARPing in the MCU. Do you think, what do you think of this sort of not so epic battle sequence in slow motion? And what do you think of the character of Grills showing up?
I appreciate the fact that they tried to do sort of a tragic irony with the whole situation, that he's dueling to get his costume back. Even at one point he says, and I fought Thanos, and now he's here, with a rubber sword. I think it was a little longer than it needed to be.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It was way too long.
Especially because he wasn't into it. It'd be better if he was going around fully
and
trying to
he started really liking it.
Yeah, but no, he was
he kind of liked it in the halfway point.
That would have been.
I
would have probably liked that more if he was really into it. He's perched and he was coming down on people. And doing flips, and people are like, "Who is this guy?"
That would have been cool. That would have been cool.
They just didn't know who he was.
And it would lead up to that Grills one-on-one combat to the
Yeah.
death even more, because then he'd be this badass who just slayed his way through the field.
I'm gonna give a huge shout out though to the guy who was doing the sword sound effects.
I
when
loved
they
it.
did the shing shing.
And then he does the long one because it's like they're like, it's so like that would be me. I would be doing that. It's so good.
I 100% thought it was you. So
I loved it. But I think it's interesting getting to see. I think kind of how we talked about in our last episode, sort of how the world is being affected by seeing these heroes. And there's a really interesting moment with Grills where I think he says something like please, man, like you're a real superhero. This is the closest I'm ever gonna get. And to me, like we're talking about a firefighter here. Right? Like that's realistically, or a policeman potentially. Like he is a real hero.
I think when you think about it, like in their universe, they've had aliens attack, Hulks go on the rampage,
Right.
shit goes down in their universe, where like first responders are powerless. Like only true superheroes can stand up to threats like that.
True.
So that's I think that's where he's coming from. Is like they're no longer heroes that people look
validated.
up to. Because we look up to people look up to that in our world, no problem, because they are the true hero and stuff like that. But when you go to these superhero threats, the first responders aren't going to cut it anymore. And I think that was what they're trying to look at. Is that they need this escape now to get back that the power of being a hero or the feeling of helping someone.
And that's why he LARPs.
Yeah, no, that's a really good call out. I also think though maybe that desire to want to be a hero extends from this idea of, we were talking about it before. Like there's this celebrityism or this sort of glamour that people think is of being recognized as a hero. But we have Clint Barton, who we see that as a human, he's very weathered from his experience as being a hero, to the point where when he's walking Kate to work, they do this awesome little montage to just highlight all the different moments that have affected him to the point of losing his hearing. So I just love that they're really highlighting the core of Clint's heroism being connected to being human. So I really love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. And I think it just speaks to really what they're trying to hit home with his character specifically. Getting back to Grills really quick. I mean, Darcy, you read the comics. For those who haven't, who's Grills? Because they said his name. He's got to be important, right?
Well, so in the comics, like I said, he's Hawkeye's protecting an apartment building trying to be taken down by a local gang.
Yeah.
And one of the neighbors he makes a connection with is a guy who's always barbecuing up on the rooftop. So his nickname is Grills.
Grills, yeah.
Okay.
And throughout the series, he meets an unfortunate end at the hands of an assassin hired by the Tracksuit Mafia to try and taunt Barton into giving up or coming out or falling for one of their traps type thing. So hearing his name made me very worried for his future, but again, given that it's not so much the building he's protecting, I'm hoping that it's more just a cheeky nod towards that character.
Yeah.
Well, I think honestly, I'm hoping that the show maybe does dive a little bit more into having some of the characters of New York. And I would love to sort of see if Grills comes back, even just if it's for a little funny scene where all the LARPers attack one specific character or something like that. I think that would be a lot of fun. And but you're right there. I did a bit of digging myself, and Kazi the Clown, which we've seen. In the episode 1, he's actually he pulls his mask off and he looks at Kate across the street. And I think we even hear him near the end of this episode, which we'll kind of get into. But that's ultimately who ends up taking down Grills, unfortunately. So we'll see if it plays out the same way. But listen, as Clint is LARPing it up, we see tension mount yet again between Kate and Jack in her mom's office, then again at dinner, and then again over a friendly or not so friendly fencing match where Kate insists that Jack is lying and he has something up his sleeves. And this is where we get kind of our next really big reveal. That's right. Jack offers Kate an Armand Original Butterscotch candy. So this pretty much confirms, Kevin, that Jack is the murderer, right?
Well, I don't know. It's like when your grandparents pull out a 2-year-old Werther's Original from their pocket, and you're like, no, thank you.
Right. Like he's had it so long because he's visited his uncle before, so it's just been in there for a little long time. I love it.
But no, this was just another instance for me where it's too on the nose that Jack is completely responsible. I can't buy into this hype that he's this evil mastermind or he's up to no good when he's being so obvious. He's got he's got ulterior motives going on here, the way he's taunting Kate.
For sure.
Yeah, and I liked how you referenced taunting, because his reaction when he offered the candy, how he didn't do anything. She saw that she was getting antsy. She left. He just casually sits down and is like, I don't know what got into her. Puts the candy in his mouth. He knows.
And then
he knows.
Glowing smile. Like, yeah.
To me, though, I think that was a big reveal that either one of two things. He's aware that she was there at the house in episode 1.
Right.
Or with that, maybe he's aware that she was the Ronin.
Right, because he saw her like face to face in the Ronin costume.
She saved them, right? From that, yeah.
So like he knows that's her.
Also, again, going to be referencing the comics because Jack Duquesne is a massive figure in Barton's life. He was the mentor who brought him into the carnival and taught him the way of the blade, whereas another guy taught him how to use a bow and arrow. And it was those two mentors whose fight basically led him towards the eventual path he took in joining the Avengers in the comics. So seeing Jack Duquesne with the sword reinforced my thought that he immediately knew who Barton's Ronin is, because he is connected to the underworld in some way and would have heard of this sword-wielding badass. And I think he's almost going to be trying to use Kate as a way to get to Barton. Because if I'm hoping that there is some connection between the two of them, because that is pivotal in Clint's character and his turn as the eventual betrayal of his mentor, being swordsman, beating him and leaving him to die essentially. So I think it's, again, his character is more than just the creepy stepfather figure for sure.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely get those vibes right off the bat. I do think that they, like to Kevin's point, they are leaning pretty heavy into it. He's just shady. He might as well just be, spinning his mustache every time he talks. So it's, just twirling.
Which I think he literally does at one point.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing too is Kate's parents in the comics are also both not very good people in the end. Like in the comics, it's her mom who dies, but it turns out she didn't die. She's just been hiding all these years and working for the Kingpin and stuff like that. And then her dad also straight up villain dude. So like the fact that her mom also seems sketch as hell to me. So I wouldn't be surprised if she has a hand in killing Armand. I mean, they were arguing just before he turned up dead.
And she
she
passively just rubs that off. I don't even know what that was about. Like, just, let's go back to the party kind of thing, right? So,
and she called Kate before the cops did. So how did she know about the apartment being set on fire and stuff like that, unless someone below her told her about it?
That's what I was thinking, man.
I'm thinking she's behind the tracksuit mafia in the series. That's personally my opinion.
I think that there's a lot to support that, because there's one part where you hear one of the characters say, "We have eyes everywhere." Well, whose eyes would be better to have than a security company? Right? That can actually tap into those things. Yeah, wow. She's running that mafia probably, or she's working with them.
Well, you guys are hitting these theories hard, and I love it. I mean, I was going to come towards this scene with a bit of a nitpick, because it was just, for me, another instance where there's an opportunity to show us something, and they really didn't give us as much as I was looking for here. Kate and Jack square off. He lets her win 3 times in a row, and then simply knocks the sword out of her hand, and she goes, "See, he's a master swordsman." And it was like, well, he didn't really demonstrate that at all, That just felt a little underwhelming.
Right. Yeah, but it highlights this fact that she's just pulling at threads. She's trying to unravel a mystery and try to figure out what is going on. And there obviously is a mystery here, but she's just like, she's trying to get into it. Like, she thinks she's being some wise ass trying to get him into a fencing match because he's gonna show his cards, and she's gonna suddenly start to see. You can tell that she's trying to find herself as being a hero, right? Like, she wants in on that world.
Mm-hmm. You guys are hitting the theories hard, but let's keep going here. So we kind of get to the end of the episode here. Clint gets himself caught by the tracksuit mafia to see, as he says, how far up this thing goes. And right after poking some fun at the bros, Kate drops down in a not so elegant way. And once they're both tied up, some, dope ass music starts playing. We get the bass speaker pumping. We hear, Christmas Island by Depeche Mode, which, I did download it. And it's revealed that leading these Russian goons is the far more capable Maya Lopez, also known as Echo. So, guys, this actually brings us to the end of the episode and our latest prediction segment for this Watch Club, which we're calling Hit Me With Your Best Shot. I want you guys to sort of hit me with your theories and predict, what this reveal could mean for the series. And once all the arrows fly, we can assess throughout the series to see if you were truly on target. So with that said, were we all expecting to see Echo this early? Is she a friend? Is she a foe? And what do you think her presence really means for this series? Darcy, why don't you shoot first?
Well, before we get into predictions, I just wanted to address the fact that Hawkeye shares everything with his wife, and it seems like once she came back from the blip or whatever, he told her everything he did because she knew everything he was saying with just a quick reference, basically. So I think
you get that moment where she's like that. She calls out that Nat moment. She's like, "Oh, that's exactly what Nat would do," right?
And when you think back to the Iron Man scene, where she's in exactly the same position before Kate dropped in on Hawkeye. So he was getting out of there, but now he's got to get her out of there too. So she keeps throwing these wrenches in his plans. And I love that and what it means going forward.
Yeah, she's a problem more than an assistant at this point, right? Like she just keeps adding to it. So
she just started.
Okay, but anyways, I think that I agree with Darcy. I think that it's very compelling to hear that Clint has shared all of his dark and dirty past of the 5-year blip to his wife, and not only that, there seems to be an existing relationship here with Clint and the Tracksuit Mafia at his time. And I think that, going into kind of like a prediction side, and I know you were asking about Echo, I feel like whatever crime lords or syndicates that were around, I think Clint dealt with them, and maybe what we're seeing is the last remnants of what wasn't dealt with, and maybe the breed of something new. And maybe introducing Echo introduces a lot of theories that D'Onofrio or Kingpin can come back, and I think that's the exciting part because of just what that means for other characters in and around him that could show up. So yeah, I'm happy that they brought her in so early. I was thinking that she was going to be towards the end, but we have our first look at her, so it's gonna be dope.
I hope it means we just get more of her.
Yeah, well, I think so.
Yeah. Oh, I think there's definitely going to be a connection with her past, at least, to Hawkeye. Like, she's definitely got personal stakes in wanting to bring him down, whether it's from his Ronin days or even from his S.H.I.E.L.D. days. Because, I mean, S.H.I.E.L.D. did some pretty dirty things, and he probably made some enemies even during that point. So, with his identity becoming more known by just the world over as for his role in the Avengers, I'm sure maybe people are going to be starting to put 2 and 2 together and coming down from him from even further in his past. So I definitely think there's a connection between him and Maya Lopez or Echo.
Yeah. Do you think that it has something to do with, because it seems like no one knows who the Ronin actually was, but again, that's yet to be revealed. But at least based on these first 2 episodes, it seems like it's more the suit, it's the costume, it's the look that is associated. When people recognize that, they're gonna, it means trouble. So that's why he's so desperate to try to conceal that suit, right?
Then that's why I think the swordsman definitely knows. If there's a connection between him and Barton, he probably recognized him through his sword work or his sword play, because he was so fascinated on that sword. Like that's
why where he grabbed it. He's like a fanboy of the Ronin,
or he knows him, something like that.
Now, guys, Kevin's arm is getting tired here. The quiver is shaking back and forth. Kevin, what theory do you want to shoot right now?
Oh, well, it's less of a theory and more of, I just wonder if we're not all going to be a little disappointed if we take, knowing that Maya Lopez has a strong connection with Kingpin. I wonder if we're going to be disappointed if we don't see him in this show and they're almost saving that relationship for the Echo show itself. So I just wonder if we shouldn't almost pull back on the reins a little bit so we can enjoy what's going on in case it doesn't happen. That's all. I think this does officially open that door, but I just wonder when we finally get to walk through it.
I'm happy with just a name drop too.
Yeah,
if I hear Kingpin or Fisk Industries or whatever, just give me that little something to look forward to in her series.
I agree with Darcy. Even if it was just a name drop or a hint, and that he was in the universe, that's more than enough than ever seeing him. And you might be right. That might be all we get.
Well, I mean, listen, we got Daddy Clint Kevin over here just trying to hold us back, say, you know what, stay in the apartment. Don't go too crazy with your theories. Don't go looking for that trouble.
Just putting the Band-Aid on properly, guys.
Just putting the Band-Aid on properly, and it feels good. But listen, I do not care because I'm going to shoot my theory here. And I like you guys. I'm super stoked that the reveal was so early on. It's awesome to see that it's only 6 episodes, but like they are not holding back. So it's going to be really cool to see more of her and to get a better sense of her character. Because I think that's what these shows do so well is they bring to life some of these characters that a lot of people haven't heard of. And I know a ton of people when that Echo reveal happened on the Disney Plus day. A lot of people were like, I have no idea what the heck that even means. So to get a little bit of explanation here, but here's my theory. My arm's getting tired. I got to shoot it here. I think they're going to go a different direction with her. I think that she's hanging out with that Russian mob, and I speculated on our last episode that maybe Yelena might have something to be connected to her with. I'd love it if she used to be a Black Widow. I think that would be a really cool way to reconstruct her character and bring her in perfectly in time, and just how it connects with Nat and how it connects with everything going on, it would just work.
Yeah, it also would make sense with the reveal being in a red room.
Right.
Like that would
Oh my gosh! Let's go!
I'm on your team now.
Well,
both are very likely now.
Well, I didn't, again, I think I said in our Disney Plus Day recap, I didn't know that character was Echo. But when I saw it in the preview, I was like, oh, it's probably a widow that was hired to take out Barton. And that's part of the story is that there's this widow and then maybe something could happen. So I could see I would like that too, to be honest with you, if there was some sort of tie to that, because again, like you said, you pull in this whole Nat's past relationship into this narrative, which is very fitting. It's very fitting. Yeah. Absolutely.
And again, the more I think about it, I'm realizing more connections now, because Echo's whole thing is she has the photo reflexes, basically. She can copy anything she sees, much like the Taskmaster we saw in Black Widow. So if she was the original person who had this ability that they tried recreating in other people,
or she's part of the board. Or she's part of the Taskmaster program.
Yes, program. Yeah, if that's how they connect it. Oh, I'm now on board for that too.
Because they referenced it in Black Widow as the Taskmaster program. I think Kevin, you pointed that out, and it's like
Daddy Clint Kevin is getting quite worried for us right now. I see him. He's freaking out. He's like
reel it in.
So many arrows. Reel it in.
Well, personally, I just want to know. Now I'm wondering if Justin is part of the Widow program. Our listeners can't see, but Justin is basked in a glowing red light. Is he secretly trying to tell us something?
I think he might be. Well, listen, Widows, let's kind of wrap up this watch club here now that we've shot all our theories here. I want to know, what are your overall thoughts and final score, which for this episode we're going to be rating on a scale of 1 to 5 LARPers of New York. Justin, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think apart from some pacing issues that I had with just like the fast slow sort of nature of the episode, where I don't know, I was more interested, I think, as we were saying at the top, like the interactions that we got off the top of the episode with Kate and Clint was so good, and I wish the whole episode just played out that way. But that being said, it just felt a little off pace, and certain scenes felt elongated to fill time
when they didn't need to be.
Yeah. So for that reason, I am going to go, it seems low, but it's not ridiculously low. 3.5 out of 5 New York LARPers. Is that it?
Close enough. LARPers of New York.
LARPers of New York.
Give it to you.
LARPers of New York.
There, Justin.
Yeah, I missed that target. It's okay.
You missed the target. It's okay.
Bound
it's
to
all
happen.
right. Darcy, let's hear from you next.
Yeah, I'm same page as Justin and Kevin too. It seems like we all have the same thoughts so far. That there was some pacing issues. Some scenes went on for a bit too long, or didn't really serve a purpose, or could have been done better. Any number of things. And I got excited for a lot of things just because I am a fan of the comics, but if you take that away, it was a very slow and chunky start, especially when you look at it with the first episode. It was my first time watching them back to back today, and it felt a bit long and tedious at some points over the both too. So I'm hoping it's more of a slow burn, and once it picks up, we'll get like I always reference a snowball effect. So I'm hoping that's what we're leading towards.
Oh, the snowball, bro.
Sort of a race to the finish, right?
Yeah. So I'm hoping it evolves into that.
Episode 3.
So yeah, I'm on the same score as Justin. 3.5 out of 5 LARPers of New York. Pacing was a bit of an issue. That was basically all I could take away from that episode.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, I think that's kind of the same sentiments. Kevin,
Yeah,
let's hear it.
I think I'm a bit higher than a 70% on the episode myself, but I do think I thought they did such a great job in the first episode of balancing getting exposition out of the way with some really fun action scenes, and so I thought, with only 6 episodes in the series itself, we were going to hit the ground running in episode 2. And, you get that first scene where the tracksuit mafia comes to confront them, and I thought, here we go. And it just sort of happened and was over, and we slowed down. And then it looked like things were going to pick up, and it slowed down. So again, I'm definitely on board with the idea that the pacing was just a little off for a second episode, the second half of what was essentially a 2-part release here for most viewers. But I think they relied heavily on the introduction at the end of the episode to kind of be our main groundwork here.
Right.
But it just fell a little flat, and I'm really thinking with only 4 episodes left to go, now we've got presumably our big baddie revealed. We're really gonna get off firing here. With that said, I'm gonna go a bit lower with 4.2 LARPers of New York out of 5.
All right. Well, I mean, Kevin, you had mentioned in our previous episode, or our preview episode actually, that you kind of felt as though this could have been better as a movie, and it felt like we kind of watched the beginning portions of a movie. And I kind of feel the same way in the sense that this feels like that part of the movie where you're kind of like, you're checking your watch, you're kind of like, okay, maybe let's keep going.
You should never check your watch during a movie, just for people to know.
Right. Yes. Don't actually do that, especially if you have an Apple Watch and it glows. Right. But I'm just saying, you feel that pace, right? You shouldn't feel that pace. And I think, it does hit the ground running and then just immediately hits that stopping point. I thought the LARPing, I actually thought it was kind of funny, but again, you're right. It went on too long. The fencing scene was too long as well. I think they could have gotten that point across quicker.
Pun intended? Point? Huh?
Pun hey,
Pun
okay,
intended?
there we go.
Touche.
Except they're not pointy swords.
Listen,
They got
I held
rubber-
off from
guard, Kevin. On guard.
I held off from saying that it misses the mark, and okay, anyways. So I mean, Justin, you also said when Kate and Clint are together, it's like peanut butter and chocolate, but when they're apart, it's just not as good. So I think it soars when we see their interactions and then slows down outside of that. So the episode just kind of stumbles to kind of get us to those 2 sort of big reveals at the end. And it's that's not the greatest way to tell your story, is to just sort of be those shows that's like, you're here for the ending pop. And trust me, I love Lost, so don't at me on that. But overall, I think this episode gives some great character building moments. But because of the padding, I'm going to give it, a 3.5 LARPers of New York out of 5.
Oh, thanks,
Justin
man.
Keeps saying.
LARPers of New York, yeah.
LARPers of New York over here. Hey, I'm LARPing.
Hey, I'm
here.
watching
Just
here.
lost the entire New York market.
No. All right. Well, listen, that is it for this second episode of our Watch Club for Marvel's Hawkeye. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Watch Club. And if you did, make sure to subscribe to us wherever you like to listen to podcasts, if you haven't already. And if you want to write into the show and maybe hit us with your best shot on your thoughts or theories on the shows we cover in Watch Club, well, I'm going to shoot this arrow over to Justin, our infamous Ronin, to let you know how you can reach us.
Well, they can reach us at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. They can also reach us on Twitter at geekcentricyt or on Instagram at wearegeekcentric.
Yeah, if your phone is as advanced as Kate Bishop's in this episode, where she can access like literal live tracking of anyone based off their phone number,
You can find us.
She threw on a tracking thing when she held onto his phone for far too long.
Oh, is that
That's-
what that was?
Yes, she works for a security company. She obviously has access to those security apps, and just boop, 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 it's on his phone. There we go.
Darcy, you're killing it. You're killing it. Okay, well, we're gonna have to have you on for at least one more episode in this Watch Club. I hope you'll join us.
Oh, I'll come back for sure. I'm probably have far more theories to talk about then.
There we go. Keep in mind, we also have a ton of other episodes covering the latest and greatest shows and movies out now, including our spoiler-filled review for Ghostbusters: The Afterlife, and our spoiler-free review for Netflix's Cowboy Bebop and Masters of the Universe Revelations Part 2. We also have our latest trailer drop for that second Spider-Man trailer that I'm sure you've all seen a million billion times, so go give those episodes a listen and leave a 5-star review if you don't mind. Justin, Kevin, and Darcy, thank you so much for joining me for this Watch Club, and as we say, good boy,
Pizza dog.
Pizza dog.